Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Let's start another week with a great trip report. And today we're headed to Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, with listener Karen to talk about an awesome trip where she stayed club level at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, celebrating an anniversary and her 50th birthday. And I'm telling you what, they opened the door to club level and she said she loves it. So you got to be careful when you have these splurges. They can be addicting. But we talk about what it's like to stay there in the Hawaii building at the Polynesian. And also she had a gluten allergy. So we talk about dining around Walt Disney World with those requirements. And we also have lots of fun talking about the fun times in the theme parks as well, plus lounges like Trader Sam's and Nomad Lounge. Lots of fun talk. Let's head to Walt Disney World next on today's show. Don't forget, today's podcast is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next vacation to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney. The best part, no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make the show possible. We could not do this without you. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2706 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. And thanks, as always, for starting another week with us here on the podcast. Hope it was a good one for you. And let's make this work week a great one. Now, all the kids, hopefully, well, I should say, most kids are out of school by now. Most of our teacher friends are out of school by now, except for you crazy teachers and students that are up in the Northeast. You guys go to school an extremely long time this time of year. So if you're up in, I guess it's like Boston, New Hampshire, New York area, you're probably still in school. It's crazy because you guys don't go back until after Labor Day. So you got all that going for you. But hang in there. You're almost there. And, our friends in the South and in the Midwest, you're getting your summer groove on by now. You're a good couple of 3 weeks into summer. So enjoy that. But we're going to have a good time today talking Disney and talking about one of my favorite Walt Disney World resorts and a splurge at that. So we're heading down to just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, where my daughter wants to explore going to college. I know they're Ole Miss and Mizzou. Who's going to win in the SEC? We'll find out in the next year. My bet's on the Tigers, but we'll have to see. We have Karen joining us today. Karen, happy Monday. What's going on?
Hey, just hanging out. How are you?
I'm doing great, and we already bonded that we're both Bama fans, so Roll Tide?
Yes, Roll Tide.
Good stuff. Kurt, there you go. There's your Roll Tide at the top of the show down in Alabama. All right, so today, can't wait to talk about a wonderful trip you took down to Walt Disney World, kind of a splurge trip there. Can't wait to hear about it. So before we do that, though, down in Tennessee, what's your backstory with your Disney fandom? How did it start for you, and how do you kind of, get your Disney fix and when you're not at the Disney destinations?
So the very first time that I went to Disney World was on my 7th birthday. At the time, we actually lived in Sanford, Florida. So we just drove right over, just movies, that type of thing. Then when my daughters, when they got about 4 or 5 years old, we started going down to Disney World. And then now that everybody is grown, me and my husband just enjoy going as a destination. We enjoy the different resorts. We're on a quest to stay at all of them and love the restaurants and all the good stuff.
I love though how it kind of evolves over your lifetime. It starts off with, oh, you got to go as a kid and it was, all about collecting the autographs in your own autograph book. And then, maybe as a teen, you really wanted the, thrill rides. And then, a lot of people have a big gap there. You don't go for a while because when you're kind of a young adult or, starting a family, you can't afford it. A lot of times you have different priorities. Then you have a kid or something and you go, I got to take my kid for the first time or one time. I'm going to take them once. And then all of a sudden, a lot of us get hooked and go a lot of times. But then, we've been doing the podcast so long now. It's like soon both of my kids will be out of the house and we'll still be going to the Disney destinations, sailing on the cruise ships because we like the product. We like the destination. It's a great place to go to a nice resort, go to a nice dinner. And, the theme parks are still just as magical without kids as with kids. I think you said it well. Let me ask you this, though, with your kids, like looking back over the years, because I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately with Pam retiring. We've been talking, we're already like, I feel like we're Carl and Ellie from Up or something, like we've got our walkers or it's a thing because I don't know, it just felt weird. We're still young, but it's like shocking that she's already retired. It's done a thing on my head, but looking back on those trips with your kids, like, do you have any, like, we stayed one time at Pop Century, we stayed one time at, Caribbean Beach. Like, is there a trip that you look back on like, wow, that was such a fun trip, or like a story you'd like to share? Because I love like looking back on old trips.
Yeah, the very first trip that we went, we actually stayed at Pop Century. I was trying to remember what year it was. I believe it was in 2005. We went, I mean, I just can't say enough about it. I remember we were headed back to the resort, and it's so nice to be in that Disney bubble, and you don't have to worry about transportation or anything. That was all new, completely new concept to us on vacation. And so we were headed back on the bus, and both of the girls just looked at us and said, "This is the happiest place on earth." And, they meant it, but we had a few meltdowns, and we actually had a picture of them that was taken on their first trip, and they reenacted that a couple of years ago.
That is so cute.
That's a good little memory we have. Yeah.
I have something similar where Paige and I took a picture at Pop Century on one of our very first trips. We were standing outside one of the buildings at Pop that had the big Rubik's Cube, and she was she must have been only, I'm guessing, like 5 or 6. And we took a picture there again when she was about 23, 24. But we found the picture on my phone, and like she had to have the same, like we both had to be standing the same exact like pose. And it's so cute side by side. I'll have to post it in the Discord for everybody today because it's one of my favorite memories as a parent. But you know what? Like looking back on those trips, like, right, we know tons of information now, right? We know the slickest way to get from point A to point B. We know how to save money. But I look back on those early trips for me too, and I bet you feel the same way. Ignorance was kind of bliss back in those days. You just kind of wandered around and you didn't worry about so much, and you just kind of lost yourself in the vacation. I kind of miss that. I probably spent more money than I needed to, and I probably was way inefficient in the way I toured it. But if I could go back, I'd do it again, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. I think it just not as much stress. And you would think it would be more stress, but no.
Yeah, so we see all these families, right, that I think they stress us out. Like we see them like, oh my God, they're making one wrong move after the next. But you know what? They're stressing us out, but they're not stressing themselves out. Just let them be.
That's right.
Like, they're having the time of their lives. Like, just let them go. Because you know what? We're all different points. Like, this is their starting point. They're not where we are today. So I think that's a lesson for all of us. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
We didn't all start back in, 2002 or, this is today in 2025, somebody's 2002. So we're getting deep already. So anyway, let's talk about your trip. What was the occasion for this special trip that we're going to talk about today?
So I turned 50 last January. So and then my husband's birthday is in October, and our 10th wedding anniversary was in August. So we just kind of combined all three of those and actually come across a pretty good deal. So we went ahead and we booked Polynesian club level, and I think we have an unhealthy habit now.
That's why I said in the pre-show, I'm like, I've never stayed club level because I'm scared to open that Pandora's box with my wife
Yes.
because she would like it as well. And moderates, regular hotel rooms, because Coronado's got got club level, and I think you've stayed there, right?
Yes, and it was very nice.
I've heard.
Very nice.
Pam Forrester says one of the best, and so I'm like,
Yes.
I don't even want to open that door. To me, club level at Coronado equals the tower. Period. Like regular.
Yes.
That's the fancy part of Coronado. That's deluxe. So how did you land on this? Like, was it you and your husband kind of saying like, where is the kind of the ultimate stay? Like, what have we always dreamed of? Like, what drew you there? Because there's so many options at Walt Disney World.
I have been wanting to stay at the Polynesian for as long as I can remember. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I booked it and then changed it. Just, never would do it. And I finally did stay there it was a short stay with a girlfriend. She and I went down there for the Halloween party. And I thought, you know what? We were coming up on the end of our APs and we found a good discount, and so I just went ahead and did it and surprised him with it.
So was your husband how into this is he? Like, is he a huge Disney fan, or does he kind of take his hands off the wheel and trust everything you do? Do you do this together? What's the level of his involvement in the planning and in the mechanics of the trip?
So he has learned that when we first book a trip, that's not always the resort we're going to stay at.
He's like, this is all like written in pencil at this point. Yeah.
He's learned that changes are going to happen. And so our next trip that we have coming up this September, he wants to be surprised. He doesn't, but he has a lot of opinions. He enjoys the different places that we eat, the different rides. He's an equal fan as far as destination goes. I don't think he really watched many movies or is a big character person, but he definitely enjoys the destination.
It sounds a lot like my wife. Like, she loves the Disney vacation. Like, she loves going on the cruises. She loves going to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, but she doesn't listen to the podcast. She's not, reading blogs or anything, watching blogs. She just loves going on the vacations. Like, she has the time of her life there. But she's never listened to 5 minutes of these shows that I know of. So I tell her she gets enough of me, and stuff like this. Otherwise, she doesn't want it. So you book this, and how do you do a lot of research? Or, you already know a lot about this stuff, like with the Polynesian. But when you do club level and you're doing such an important stakes, you're celebrating, your anniversary, your 50th birthday. Welcome to the club. We're all kind of here at this point. You want to get the most out of it. So how did you prepare yourself for something this special? Because it's different than like a Caribbean beach stay. It's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. Or staying at Pop Century. If I'm staying club level somewhere, I want to make sure that my touring plan is set up that I'm not going to miss out on, taking advantage of the lounge or, maybe seeing fireworks from the building there that night, because it's got an extremely great view of the fireworks, stuff like that. So how were you? It probably changed your planning, right?
It really did. And I also have a gluten allergy. So I was really concerned about having, especially at the Polynesian, having options to eat. So I had actually reached out I found an email for club level services, and I emailed them, and I received a phone call the very next day. The cast member that spoke to me, she also had a gluten allergy.
Oh, nice.
And so she connected me. The following day, I received 2 phone calls from 2 of the chefs at the Polynesian, and they just wanted to assure me that I would have options. They went over the menu and then the offerings that I would have as far as a gluten-free. They also told me that one of the chefs told me to remind him to get me a gluten-free Ohana bread pudding. So I definitely reminded them on our first night, and it was phenomenal. I didn't have the caramel sauce, but it was the closest thing that I remember it being, so it was great.
That is good. It's a good start to the trip. That's not bad there. Okay, so let's go through the trip. And you started, I when I saw your notes, I laughed at this out
Yeah.
loud, like because I cracked up because this is how my brain works. Because this is exactly how I would do something. Because I'm kind of like a yin and a yang type person. You know, like
Yeah.
I will go. I don't know. I just laughed, and the reason I laughed is because you did the split stay thing where the first night, and there's nothing wrong. I'm not. Somebody's gonna
Yeah.
yell at me for saying this because there's nothing wrong with All Star Sports. I'm a sports dude. Right now, I got the Cardinals game on. That just came out rain delay. I'm watching that in the background as I'm recording this show. I do not watch anything but sports in my life. Look how I dress. I dress like a defensive coach in football. But you stayed at All Star Sports like for the first night, and then you jumped over to the club level at the Polynesian, which I think gives you maybe made the Polynesian amenities feel a little bit nicer and the room maybe a little bit
Yes.
bigger. I don't know. Like, you know, they all have their own purposes, but wow, that was kind of a big drastic change.
Well, we actually I added All Star Sports as another additional night. So we actually did 3 hotels.
Okay.
We flew down late that Friday night, stayed at All Star Sports, and then went over to Art of Animation in a Little Mermaid room. Then we checked in. So we had
Nice.
it.
You
That was
stepped
a
up a
lot.
little bit. Yeah, you kind of like
Yeah.
a mini step up and then wham, you
Yeah.
jumped like,
Yeah.
took the big leap. I like
Yes.
it. Nice. So do you have any trouble like with your luggage or anything like that doing a triple
No,
split
we did when we checked out All Star Sports. We took an Uber and carried our own bags over to Art of Animation, and then left them with Bell Services. And then when we moved over to the Polynesian, we just left them with Bell Services, and they show up in your room. We gave them a call whenever our room was ready, and they got the bags right over to us.
Okay, real quick, but so we don't gloss over. I mean, is there anything remarkable about sports or Art of Animation over there with your room or anything that you want to throw in? Because I do like talking resorts, but I want to hit after this kind of all the club level stuff over the
Sure.
Polynesian before we hit the theme parks.
So All Star Sports, I just chose it just because we just wanted to get down there and then have another full day in the parks. And it was great. It was fun. Art of Animation, we were completely wowed. We had never been out there, and the Little Mermaid room, I've seen where people don't like those beds. They didn't bother us at all. We actually loved the room, and I could have stayed there all week long. We really, really enjoyed the Finding Nemo pool area and the seagulls, the mine when you walk by. It was great. They think of everything,
Yeah, they do. And funny connection to that, I was at a high school playoff baseball game on Saturday, and every time there was a foul ball on the side of the opposing baseball team's dugout, the whole baseball team would yell, "Mine, mine, mine," as the kids chased the foul ball. Annoying as anything, because I didn't like that team. I was like, well done, but it was annoying as anything. I'm like, shut up. I was like, that's funny though, because everybody's chasing that foul ball. Mine, mine. I was like, shut up.
Yeah, that's
So tell us about though, because then we'll jump into the theme parks and your meals and stuff like that, because you got a lot going on. But because you stayed in Hawaii over at the Polynesian, but give us the stay, give us the resort review of Club Level at Poly.
okay. It is actually phenomenal. We went at a very slow time, so I'd also read a lot of reviews on Facebook and different forums about the Polynesian. The lounge is like really crowded and packed. We never had a problem finding a seat. In fact, there were several empty seats. A lot of evenings we were able to get right up on the front glass there. It was just absolutely remarkable. We had a resort view. We did not splurge on a view. We were on I believe it was 3533, and it was right around the corner from the club lounge. So you could go in on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor, and we could just walk right down the steps. It was maybe 2 or 3 doors away from the elevator there that just leads right to the lounge. So it was a great And every night we could hear Happily Ever After popped in through the lounge. It was wonderful.
That is so
You
nice.
think you would get tired of that, but you don't.
No, you really don't. I just remember, I mean, that song is super special to me because I remember like not growing up, but like when Mallory was younger, every night when she would take a shower, when we first moved into this house in 2019, we threw a Echo Dot in her bathroom. And every night when she would take a shower, she'd turn on Happily Ever After on the Echo Dot like super loud and sing it in the shower. And the
Oh,
shower,
love
her bathroom's like right off our living room. And it was just the cutest, most adorable thing. And like all through COVID, like she'd do that. And it was just so every time I hear that, I'm just like, oh, that's like, when Mallory was little and not so much trouble. Yeah, she's not trouble, but she's a 17-year-old girl now.
Okay.
Like back when she used to talk to me and I was cool, not anymore. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just that never gets old. And I could imagine just having it right, brought right to your front porch. And also, so tell us about the lounge, because I should say, I forgot. I did stay club level one night. I mean, years ago at the yacht club, we had one night at the end of our vacation where our APs ran out. And I did let us stay at yacht club level one night because I got a steal of a deal. And I'll tell you what, I camped out in that lounge. I had all the good goodies. I got Mallory ate almost all the taffy off the guy's desk, like the person who's like the attendant out there at the main lobby.
Yeah.
I was like, Mallory, quit taking that dude's all of his taffy. Like, you're not gonna have any teeth left, and two, like that's for the whole floor, not just you. But so what were the amenities, and what'd you think of like the snacks and the drinks and all that kind of stuff they offer?
They had a lot of options. So in the morning time, of course, they're on like a 3-day rotation, I believe. And they would have scrambled eggs. They would have cheese and salsa that you could put on there. They had frittatas one morning. They had bacon, Canadian ham, just your typical meat, the sausages. They had oatmeal with all of the fixins. They had croissants, little charcuterie meats and cheeses out. And then they had your grab and go items, some fruit and yogurt. Then for the lunchtime, they just really set out snacks, Uncrustables, and chips, that type of thing, and the to-go candy. My husband was as bad as a kid in there filling up bags to go.
That's what we do. I'd have been right with him.
I mean, you
I
might
like your
as well,
husband. We
you know.
got a lot in common. Your husband sounds like a pretty cool dude, I gotta say.
But in the evening time, they had, I really missed being able to eat the noodles. It looked like the noodles from Ohana a little bit, with the shrimp. They had these impossible meatballs, and they were so good. Probably my favorite thing I ate there. And that's kind of out of my element. I can't remember the other thing that they had, but there was plenty, and we actually ate our meals there and made meals of them. We did eat at a few places, but we made good use of the lounge.
That's what I was wondering, because that's a strategy, right? That a lot of people employ, eat breakfast in the lounge before you go to the theme parks, kind of save you the cost of a breakfast in the theme parks. That can add up really quickly, especially with multiple people. And, sometimes lunch. I mean, obviously you want to do some dining in the parks and because of the experiences you get, but if you could have 25, 35, 45% of your meals in the lounge because you're paying for it, and it's good.
Yeah.
Because I've always heard that the Polynesian has amazing options because of the dining options that are, with the restaurants on site there.
Yes, we really enjoyed that, and the desserts were all phenomenal too. And a lot of times your desserts they can be problematic for a gluten allergy, but I had plenty of things that they offered, and they had these little brownies. I wish I knew what they were, but they were actually prepackaged, and they were some of the best brownies that I've ever eaten. So
If they're prepackaged, come on, tell me you didn't bring a backpack full of them home.
Hey, I did take a couple.
I was gonna say, come on, you're got to be a good person there. Just like a few of these just happen to fall into my backpack here for the ride home.
Yep.
I mean, come on now. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the times in the theme park. So, because it looks like you guys had a busy time because you weren't just there. You did a lot of fun stuff. So, give us some highlights. I mean, well, let me ask you this off top. I just love getting to know people. What's your favorite theme park of the four?
Oh, I knew you was going to ask, and it's really a toss up between Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Those are my two favorites.
Nice. Okay, so just give us some highlights. What were some of the, because it was just you and your husband. So were you rope droppers? Were you casual, just go when you want? Were you staying out late? Like, what was the kind of overall plan for this?
So our plan was to utilize the club breakfast and then hit the parks, mid-morning. And a lot of times we would fill up so much that we wouldn't really even care to eat lunch while we were in the parks. But our intention was to eat dinner in the parks and stay out, catch all of the shows. Unfortunately, this week that we were there, it was the heaviest rain that we've ever experienced. And I mean, you're used to a few downpours in September, but it was almost daily. So I don't know if we were using that as an excuse to get back to the lounge for dinner, but we hit the parks hard, but we found ourselves watching the fireworks that night from the lounge and all of that. We did have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and we were able to get a lot of rides in, and we noticed over in the distance, we were on the People Mover, and we noticed over in the distance that there was, you could see flashes of lightning. And our boarding group had just got called for Tron, and we had already wrote it earlier in the week, but in the daytime. That was when they were still doing boarding groups. And we decided that we were just going to wait and go ahead and go to the boat dock and head back. Luckily, we did, because by the time we got under the roof, it came another downpour, and it even delayed the fireworks for a very good while that night.
But I mean, how lucky were you that you had the option to, like, most times go back and watch the fireworks from a place like the Club Level Lounge at the Polynesian? I mean, for somebody like me, I'd have been like, well, I'm either going to get drowned like a rat, or I'm just going to be heading back to Pop Century, and no fireworks for me. That's a great
that would have been us typically too. Yeah.
But it works out in a situation like that, and it's a shame because, well, I mean, it is hurricane season there, kind of that first week of September, Labor Day weekend ish. But well, how in the Halloween party? So that was a rainy night as well. I mean, it was a bad night. I mean, did they cut back? What did you think of the party? Because a lot of people just got their tickets. They're excited for this year. Can't believe we're already talking about that.
Oh, I know it
Holy
is crazy.
Cow. I can't believe. But I mean, in our Discord, everybody's talking about it. The Mohawk, our good friend over in Scotland, he's pumped, man. He's got his tickets. He's ready to come over. But was it good even in the rain? I mean, it's kind of.
It was great. When we first got there, it had been raining, and it kind of cleared out. Everything was kind of wet and all, but it was great. We got some really good pictures in front of the castle. And like I said, we hit everything just right. There was no waits. We typically, for the parade, during the first parade, we hit the rides and then try to catch the later parade. But it was great. It did. They did end up having to shut down Seven Dwarfs, or Mine Train, and it was great. Other than that, though, I do believe that was one of the nights that maybe they had issued credits for future parties. It was that bad.
Yeah, it's bad when Disney's giving money back.
Yeah.
It didn't just sprinkle that night, I can tell you that. They just told me you got drowned. People were soaked. Okay, let's jump outside the theme parks for a second, because I see something in your notes I want to ask you about, because you were down there for a couples trip, and I know our audience, we got huge variety of listeners, which I love, all over the world. You guys did a couple cool lounges. You did Trader Sam's, obviously, at the Poly, right there on your home turf, but you also did Nomad Lounge. So could you
Yeah.
talk to your experiences at both? Because those are very popular with our audience.
Yes. So, our first day that we checked into the Poly, we decided we were going to do a resort day, and it was my mission to get into Trader Sam's. It never has worked out for me before. So we go down about 12:30, and there was already a line that had formed.
That is
So
so crazy. That is great. I mean, I
yeah,
love it that it's that popular, but the Disney fans are crazy sometimes. I'm just saying,
yes.
that's wild.
Yes. Well, we sit there and we waited. We were probably within 10 to 15 people in line. Uh, we got called right in as soon as it opened up. We were sitting at a high top table. We didn't get the bar, unfortunately, but it we had never been, and the different drinks and all the commotion that
Mhm.
goes on, it was great. Yeah, we would love to do that again.
Did you see anybody that had the stool that slowly goes down? Did you notice
No,
that? Okay, because
I didn't know
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah, there's a place because I haven't been in there in years, but we went right after it opened with a big group of us from the show, and there's somewhere in there because we were I either I was sitting on it or somebody was sitting next to me or I was on. I can't remember because I don't drink very often, and I had a OA and whoever I had it with, I think Pam didn't like it, so I drank the whole thing. It was like drink for two, and I still have the mug behind me. It's a really cool mug. Because I probably shouldn't have bought that either, but I had to double drink, and they're like, "You want to buy it?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" That's how they get you, I guess. But yeah, so apparently one of the stools like slowly drops down like through like over 10 minutes, and either I felt like I was shorter or I was taller. I just remember I'm like, it was like Scott with me or somebody, or I don't know, somebody was next to me. I was like, "Pam, where'd you go? Like, what's going on?" But I love that place because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's so slow, it messes with you. I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, what? Like, it'd be like, if at the end of the show, like I was podcasting from down, I'll just see the top of my hat. At the end of the, yeah, but it's one of the greatest things. But yeah, everybody should go there because
Oh, they
it's like
should.
the tiki room come to life with a drink in your hand. It's so
Yes,
fun.
yes. It
It's
was
so fun.
great.
I love it. So what about Nomad Lounge? I mean, different vibe over there, but you enjoy that too?
Yes, we loved it. It was probably some of the best food we had had that trip. I can't really remember what all we got, but I did get I think it was the Boca Rita with the peppercorns. It was great. The churros, they're gluten free and they were phenomenal. We really enjoyed that. We ended up, my husband, he's enjoys the lounges, but he never wants to wait around for them. So we actually, it was just slow and we got right in once again. So we were able to do that, but we actually ended up staying for maybe an hour and a half. We just really enjoyed it there. It was nice and quiet.
Nice. I've only like spent a little time out on one of those couches out on the kind of patios that overlook the river.
Yeah,
That was nice, but I've never had.
that's where we were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And it was during a big thunderstorm. I was like, oh, this
Oh,
is great.
yeah.
Oh, it was the best. It was the best. So you did the Animal Kingdom that day. I mean, was there any highlights from the park that day? Since it's one of your favorites, like safari or something. I mean,
Just
what you guys like?
Flight of Passage, that I think we wrote it a couple of times. We just really, we didn't have to use, I think maybe we bought two or three individual lightning lanes that entire week. We just really did not have to wait at all. Um, and like I said, we didn't rope drop. So, we really ended up hitting everything very well. But yeah, we just hit all the highlights there. And then I think after we spent maybe a half a day there, and then we hopped over to Magic Kingdom, I believe it was that day. Um, we just kind of we typically go with a plan, and this time we didn't plan much of anything, and we just kind of went with the flow, and I really enjoyed that.
I, I've gotten that way too. I used to be more of a planner 10 years ago. I don't plan it because I spend my whole day every day planning stuff for everybody. I don't plan
Yes.
anything for myself or my family at this point, and it's cool. Like, you know what? Because, But yeah, I think you have to get to that point in your Disney, travels, because like I've done everything at Walt Disney. I mean, I'm very lucky at this point because there's nothing I have to do, but everything that I get to do is fun, but
Yeah.
there's nothing that's, do or die. Where if it was my first trip, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that are huge priorities, but really I don't have a huge priority. Like if I miss something now, it's not that, I'm not going to be that sad because I've done it a bunch of times. So I
Right.
just kind of just roll with it.
We were coming off of, we had taken 3 of our daughters down on 2 separate trips. And one of our daughters is a go hard. We rope dropped, we stayed out. Kinsey wore us out. So, and
That's
she
why
was
she
only
did
there
not
for a
get to
few days.
go.
Yeah. So once coming off of that year we went, I think it was 3 years, we ended up getting 4 visits out of our APs. So this one we really slowed down after.
You're like, Kinsey, watch. This is how you do it. Just
Yeah.
watch us on social media.
Yeah.
We're gonna do 3 rides all day. It's gonna kill you.
Yes.
We're gonna have 3 meals and 3 attractions the entire
That's right.
day. The entire day. It's gonna kill you. You would have had 3 rides in the first 30 minutes.
Yes.
I know. It drives some people nuts, and it's the best kind of touring in the history of the world. People are like, Mike, shut up, you're crazy. I'm like, just it would kill you, but try it. All right, so
Yep.
let's talk about your day over at the studio. So you guys, looks like you kind of went right into Slinky Dog. Good idea, because nobody wants
Yeah.
to be standing in that line in the sun and the heat. Well, it was rainy and probably not, but it's not a fun line anyway. But how does this day kind of unfold? Because I see you did rodeo. I can never get that right. Roundup rodeo, which with a gluten allergy, is that a challenge? Is that I don't know about that.
Disney is really good. So on their website, you can go and they actually have, if you scroll on down their menus, you can see allergy friendly menus. And so I knew ahead of time what I could and couldn't have. And really, at Roundup, I could have pretty much everything. Some of the desserts I couldn't, but we really enjoyed that too. Have you ever eaten there?
I have not made it there yet because I've been going solo my last couple of times, and I think that'd be better. That'd be a meal
Yeah.
better with like friends or my family. Even though,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of scared because it's kind of family style, and I would cut loose because that is totally my food. Like, I don't know if I could trust myself at a place like that with barbecue. Honestly,
Hey, it is
it'd be
good.
bad. Like it'd be like turning me loose at all you can eat Cracker Barrel or something. It'd be
Yes.
ugly.
Yes. It and it was really fun, even as adults, when Andy come out, and you freeze, it was fun. It was so much fun.
That is awesome. So, you guys look like you kind of did a lot though at the studios. I mean,
We
so what'd
really
you do?
did. We did some shopping. We hit everything but Tower of Terror. I haven't gotten back on it since I decided to. I took the chicken exit one time.
Which is ironic
So
because it's an elevator.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah. So
Here, get on this elevator
but
because you're scared to ride an elevator. Yeah.
yeah, on that particular trip, I don't know what happened. We all were buckled up, and he said, I just raised my hand, and my daughter was like, "Put your hand down, put your hand down." And
Oh, you were
I got,
strapped in and ready to go when you chickened out. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's something.
The cast member wasn't rude at all, but he was like, how this happened, if everybody doesn't do this in sequence, then we're going to have to start completely over. So
See, I'd have
I
been
didn't
worried
mean
that
to
you
put them in a bind, but
no, but I'd have been worried like once you got out, like, okay, am I good now? Because I'd have been
yeah,
like, wait, if he didn't get this thing back right now, all the rest of us will be bouncing off the ceiling here in about
yeah,
2.5 minutes. Like, thanks, Karen. Like, we're gonna be all good. We're gonna be like ding ding.
yeah,
And she's gonna be down there having like a lemonade down, on the bottom floor.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
good stuff. That's hilarious. So you guys, let's see. So Yeah, obviously you've been down there a bunch of times. You got to do things like Rise and Smuggler's Run. I mean, does that still kind of stand up to what everybody says? You guys enjoy that stuff?
Yes, we still we hit all the rides every time, multiple times each trip. We just absolutely love it. Um, we didn't catch many shows this time, and we we need to do that. We've never watched Phantasmic live, and I'm ashamed to say that,
Wow,
but
that's a good
we were
show.
hoping to do it this time, and we could not do it. Um, it just the rain got us every time. So
Gotta see that is it's got to be a priority though, because that
yes,
is one of the things that is just it's so good. Like I
yes,
it's it is kind of a hassle because it's at park closing and they herd you in like cattle, and it's kind of a mess to get in there. But oh, it's such a good show. The music is so
yeah,
good.
that's
There's a reason I picked it for the intro.
yeah,
Like I hear that music and it's still like that's one of the pieces that and Illuminations gives me chills every. It still does, and it's stuff's 20 years old.
oh yeah,
So what about let's talk about your day at Epcot. So again, I keep seeing, man, it just keeps raining on you guys. I'm so sorry about
yes,
that, but I mean, I feel at least I know that you guys have had experiences there. It wasn't like a first time trip where it was like once in a lifetime kind of thing, or like you're taking, grandma and grandpa, they're never going back or something like that. But wh- Epcot's kind of a hard park in the rain because everything is so spread out. I mean, it can be good because you can stay in like a pavilion, like the land, but you can only stand there for so long, and then you got to make a long walk to somewhere else. So how'd you guys attack that?
well, luckily during the day, it really didn't rain on us on our Epcot days during the daytime. We were able to make it through World Showcase and all of that. Um, we I believe we were coming out of Soarin', and we were fixing to go hit everything again because the wait times were so low. And then that's when it started, the downpour, and you don't realize how far of a walk it is to the monorail in that type of weather
Yeah.
until you're walking it was just, we really did have so much rain, and it it was either completely sunny or it was like there was no in between. But the downpours, man, they kept, and like I said, maybe we ended up using it as an excuse to get our money's worth at the room. But um, yeah, Epcot, it was okay that day. It was that evening that it turned foul for us.
Yeah. And you keep saying like use it as an excuse for going back to your room, but I mean, it could have been that I look at kind of things like this as like the universe is talking to me, right? Like
Yeah.
I was so lucky that I booked a club level room for this week, right? Because
Yeah.
you could have had beautiful weather, 85 and sunny and perfect weather, and this gave you an opportunity to be back in there more than you would have otherwise. You could have been out in the parks and never, maybe used it 25% less. I think you got
Right.
to kind of look at it kind of glass half full where the weather stinks, but it's a lot better than having to retreat back to Pop Century on this trip than, other
Yes.
trips. It's a good
Yes.
place to go
Yes.
back to. So I see in your notes too. Let's talk about this last full day because you guys did a lot of parks, had a good meal. It looks like Kona, one of my favorite restaurants, which I haven't been to
Yes.
for a really long time, which is a shame. But the last full day, right? I mean, that's one of those things. It's always bittersweet, right? You want to make the most of it, but time's coming to an end, and you're trying to wrap up all the loose ends, get those favorite last rides in. So, how'd you guys go about that? Because it looks kind of busy and fun.
Yes. So I'm having to check my notes here too. We hit Animal Kingdom that morning, and we did Flight of Passage and Everest, and we were able to do Everest I think 2 or 3 times. What I wanted to do, my intention that day was to go to all 4 parks and ride at least one ride. That's It sounds so easy to do, but when you're in the heat of it's really hard to
Yeah.
to pull it off. So we went over after that. We went to Hollywood Studios. I think we did Rise and maybe Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. And then we went over to Magic Kingdom and we took the train and then got off so that we could ride Seven Dwarfs. and then we went back and got on the train back to Main Street. we were
That's
we
two
were kind of
trains.
worn out.
That's the double train Magic Kingdom day right
Yeah.
there. I mean, it counts.
But that evening, we had reservations for Kona. So we went back and we had a really great meal. I had never eaten at Kona either. And I was kind of concerned about my allergy, but I was able to get the chicken wings. So I was really excited about that. And then that evening, it was actually ended up being a beautiful evening of all the nights that we decided to just stay in.
Well, that too, right? And you knew the best evening was probably going to be your last night, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, dang it, it's probably going to be nice for the next 30 nights now that we got to go home. Like, that's how it always works for me.
Every time we were like, we just can't believe this. We were walking across the area there by the volcano pool to Hawaii, and all week long we had, because of the rain, we had been inside the lounge, and you could see the fireworks, and I got some really great videos. But how the lights hit, sometimes there's a bit of a reflection, and then there was a lot of condensation from all the rain and everything. Well, we were just so happened we were going to go watch the fireworks in the lounge. And as we were walking by the Hawaii building, they had already started. And so we just caught them right there at the edge of the Hawaii building. It was perfect. It's amazing the views that you can see from the beach there. It's just beautiful.
I've spent many a night on that beach watching the fireworks at the Poly, and it's unbelievable. Like, I'm just thinking about it right now because we've gone there. We had listeners get married, Jay and Melissa, years and years ago, and we had a couple nights before their wedding. We had a meal at the Polynesian. We all went out to the beach afterwards and celebrated. And I remember watching the fireworks with the wedding party, and other times we've met up after meals there, and it's just it's unmatched. It really is, because I mean, you got palm trees, you got sand, and you got the fireworks over a castle, and the reflections on the water. You can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Yes, it's great.
So, with time, it looks like you guys. So, did you guys drive down or fly?
We flew down, and we use mirrors to get us to and from, and we really enjoy mirrors. We had used Sunshine Flyer before they merged. We really like those buses a little better. Had you ever rode those?
No, I forgot about that. So you just said the old trains.
Yeah.
I forgot. God,
they were so cute. Like, even as an adult.
It wasn't even that long ago, but they're here and gone. Yeah, but I forgot seeing those. The little kids got the little conductor hats. So that was so cute. Oh my gosh, it's so sad that they're gone. Chicka chicka. But yeah, I've never used them. I always just take an Uber typically, but I mean, but it works out well, right? I mean, it's kind of the same rule. They pick you up about 3 hours before and get you back. I'm super conservative, like when it comes to my travel plans, and I use the exact same rule. Like, I order my Uber exactly 3 hours before my flight, which is way too early, but I'm not going to miss my flight either.
Exactly.
People always like, what time? Because we had that in the Discord the other day. People like, I work backwards from what time I fly. Nope, I just go 3 hours, the old Magical Express rule. And I'm always sitting there with like an hour and a half to spare at the gate. But I just sit there and play on my phone.
That's all right.
I'm safe. Like, I'm not going to miss
me
my
there.
Because I'd be anxious if I was close. I'm not that person. So, well, as we wrap up, I mean, this is a very special trip, and this has been so much fun hearing about the parks and the meals, and a lot of great information for folks with gluten allergy when it comes to traveling. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are curious about taking this splurge for special trips. So it's a really helpful show for folks. But looking back on this, like, what's the memory going to be, celebrating these milestones in your life and, jumping into club level at Polynesian? Like, was there like any special like antidote from the trip, like one special moment or anything you really learned from the trip?
There were just so many wonderful moments. We had just a ball, and it's actually one thing that keeps popping up. You know how your iPhone will have pictures that it puts in your memories every once in a while? There is a picture that I got of my husband, who is not what you would say a bougie person at all. but this man is in his club level robe. And I got the best picture of that, of him sitting on the bed. So every time that pops up, we just crack up laughing. But other than that, it was just great. And I would say if anybody, if you're able to do it even for a couple of days, like I said, we developed an unhealthy habit for it, so we're cutting our trip shorter to make it more in our range. But by the time you figure out the dining plan, or even just spending money out of pocket for meals, a lot of times it's pretty feasible. Especially being able to pay your trips, in advance and all. We just really enjoyed going a little slower too. That just really enjoying the moment that we were every time, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it as a split stay, right? And always put on the end of your trip, right? You don't put this on the beginning
Yes.
and then go the other way. Like put this,
Yes.
put
Yes,
this at the
don't
end.
do that.
Put this at the end to look forward to. Tip number one, and just add 2 nights at the end, and really
Yes.
have something to look forward to. But that's a great way to. But again, be careful opening that Pandora's box, because
That's exactly right.
something you don't want to get you taste that you don't want to ever go back to. I'm telling you, that veranda I got on our honeymoon, I can never go back to any other kind of stateroom on a cruise with my wife. It's never going to
Oh,
happen.
yeah.
I can tell you that. Yeah, and so it's good to know that there's bougie Tennessee guys down there. It's good to
He's
know.
going to get me for that one.
It's good to know. No, I appreciate it, Karen. I'm so glad you had a wonderful, wonderful vacation. I appreciate you taking the time to start the week with us. What a great trip report, and I hope we could catch up again here soon.
Yes, thank you. It was so good talking to you.
All right. Don't forget, today's show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details this week over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through that link when you shop online. It supports the show each and every time. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air. So a huge thank you to each and every one of you. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come on over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. You can follow me on the social media at BeOurGuestMike. That's x.com, Instagram, and Threads. And don't forget to join us in the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. It's our Discord server. It's like a message board / live chat, free for everybody all the time. Come on over, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. And finally, join us Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. It's the Be Our Guest Podcast open line. We open up the phone lines. You guys call in. It's your show. We talk about anything that's on your mind. Scotty G joins us as well. Just tune in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. And we'll talk to you on Sunday night. All right. So until we get back together again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions, this is Mike here in Missouri for Karen down in Tennessee, wishing you a great Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.